In this video, I'm going to show you how to look beyond just the sticker price to quantify and compare the true cost of ownership for different vehicles. Hey everyone, this is Michael Tortorich and thanks for tuning in. Just a quick note in the video before we get started. These videos are designed to complement my book, Running the Numbers, a step-by-step guide to life's major financial decisions. Each video corresponds to a chapter or section in the book, and the idea is to review the chapters and use these videos as a platform to add some additional color around the examples where it just wouldn't have been practical to do in the book. So to check out the book or additional videos, please visit my website at michaeltortorichfinance.com. There's also a link to the website and the book in the description below. So buying a car is usually one of the first major purchases that people make, and it's a pretty emotional purchase. So what I hope to do is help you take some of the emotion out of that process by showing you how to quantify and compare the true cost of ownership for different cars. So first I'm going to discuss some of the pros and cons of new versus used, and then I'm going to walk you through an example of how to quantify the opportunity cost of purchasing a more expensive car. So let's dive in. The first decision anyone has to make when purchasing a car is whether to buy new or used. So let's take a look at some of the pros and cons of both. So starting with the new car, the biggest benefit and the reason most people get a new car is because you know exactly what you're getting. You know no one else has driven the car, it's in proper working order, and you get a factory warranty. The con is that it's the most expensive option. For used, on the other hand, it has the biggest potential for cost savings, and that's because new car values can drop anywhere from 20 to 40% over the first 3 years of ownership. But that potential cost saving comes with one very big con, and that you never know what problems you might encounter. And this added layer of complexity means you need to do quite a bit of due diligence, such as taking the car to a trusted mechanic to get a thorough inspection before you purchase. And if you don't do that due diligence, the amount of time and money you spend at the mechanic can easily outweigh the cost savings versus the new car price. And it's important to note there's no right answer here. If having the warranty and knowing the car's history is really important to you, that may be the way to go. If you know a good mechanic and you're comfortable with going through that due diligence process, then used may be a better option for you. Once again, no right or wrong answer, but it's just something that you need to think through and make sure you're comfortable for whichever decision you decide to go with. So once you've decided to buy new or used, the next step is actually deciding, well, which car do you buy? And here's where we can run some numbers to quantify the difference. So let's take a look at an example. Let's say you're at the car dealership and you're deciding between a Lexus or a Toyota. The sticker price for the Lexus is $10,000 more and you're torn. You want the Lexus, but you don't want to pay the extra money and you don't know what to do. Well, how do you quantify that? The key is we need to quantify the opportunity cost of spending the extra money on the Lexus. In other words, if you bought the Toyota and invested the money you would have otherwise spent on the Lexus, how much will that grow to in the future? And it's not just a difference in the sticker price of $10,000. We have to look at the additional cost over the whole life of vehicle ownership. And so to do this, we need to make a few assumptions. So first, we're going to assume you have cash on hand to pay for either car. The price for the Lexus is $10,000 more than the Toyota. The ownership period is 10 years. For fuel, the Lexus takes premium versus the Toyota takes regular. The additional cost for premium gas is 50 cents a gallon. Both cars have a 17-gallon gas tank, and you're going to fill up once per week or 52 times a year. So the additional cost for gas for the Lexus is $442 per year. Maintenance and parts cost an additional $500 a year for the Lexus, and insurance is an additional $600 a year. So gas, maintenance, and insurance will cost you an additional $1,542 per year for the Lexus, in addition to the sticker price of $10,000. And since you would theoretically be investing this money, we're going to assume you get a 6% yearly return on your investment. Now, as an aside, in reality, if you invested in the stock market, you're never going to get exactly a 6% return every year. Some years it's going to be higher, some years it's going to be lower, but unless you're doing some kind of advanced calculations like running Monte Carlo simulation, you're always going to have to pick one estimated return and use that return for your calculations. And so that's what we're doing here. But remember, at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is show you how to run the numbers. If you have additional assumptions or different assumptions that you want to use, that's totally fine. So to understand the impact, we need to run a future value calculation. In other words, we need to see how much money you'd have in 10 years if you purchased a Toyota and instead invested the $10,000 you have today and then invested the $1,542 every year for the next 10 years instead of spending it on the upkeep for the Toyota. And we can estimate the future value by using the compound interest formula. And so if you're watching my channel for the first time, please check the link above to the Chapter 2 video where I review the compound interest formula. So for this example, we're actually going to have to run the compound interest formula 11 times. Once for the initial $10,000 invested, and then 10 more times for the yearly investments of $1,542. So let's jump to Excel and take a look at how to do that. And this Excel can be found on my website, michaeltodrichfinance.com, and as Excel is the primary tool for running these calculations, not only in this video, but in the entire series, I highly recommend familiarizing yourself with the tool. If you're not familiar with it or need to get a copy, I've got a link to Microsoft that you can check out in the description below. So here you can see we're on the Lexus versus Toyota tab, and starting in the top left of the tab, you can see the assumptions. And you'll notice that there are yellow highlighted cells, and these denote input cells. On every tab, there's an assumption section, and by changing any of the values in the yellow highlighted input cells, the calculations will update and flow through to the rest of the formulas. So for this example, we're assuming a return on investment of 6%, an ownership period of 10 years, a purchase price difference of $10,000, and below we have the yearly incremental cost of $1,542. So at the time of purchase, this is on day one, you can see the $10,000 you'll invest, and then next you can see the compound interest formula, and then you can see the future value of the investment. In other words, what the value is going to grow to after 10 years. Next, we look at the additional amounts you'll invest each year. So at the end of year one, you'll invest $1,542, and that will stay invested for 9 years. And again, you have the compound interest formula, and you can see what that's going to grow to in 9 years. So you run this calculation for each year until the end of year 10, in other words, the end of the ownership period, and add all those values up, and you'll see that you end up with just over $38,000 after 10 years. And so $38,000 is the true additional cost of ownership for the Lexus. So that takes us to the end of Chapter 4, and I want to end with this. The purpose of my videos and my book is never to tell you what to do. I'm not saying you should buy used or new or luxury or not. All I'm trying to do is show you how to think through this logically and make sure that you have the tools to run the numbers and make an informed decision. As long as you fully understand the trade-offs, then whatever decision you make, that's the right decision. So if you liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Also, stay tuned for my next video on Chapter 5, where I'll discuss how to objectively look at choosing a career. For more information on the book or additional videos, you can check out the links in the description below or my website at michaeltodrichfinance.com. Thanks for watching.